You got water? I'll take it, please. Somebody else need all the water?
He does, dude.
Hey, right where I'm from. I stood up like that. See one fall up. You watch that Google today? No. You ain't gotta watch it.
Yeah, you did.
Well, not like this.
Oh, after running the grass, yeah.
That's true. You did go mow the grass a couple times.
Couple times.
First time I played it, second time. Nah, it's so much.
Just nailed little bobbish straightaways. Oh my god.
Where was he?
Ambassador.
Oh. He thought he still had that race car steering. He's doing all this.
Gotta get fixed.
Took me to the place we realized that.
Don't be like that.
Oh, it's crazy, man. To this topic. Back whenever we used to drive, you actually had to turn this. You just go in there. Sometimes the go-kart doesn't itself. You barely turn it.
I know, towards the end, I found the line, and I was literally just like, barely, and it broke the bacon.
Was the mic button on it?
Is that done?
You have to keep talking.
Oh,
Probably the fan fixing the mic. That's so bottom. Fix the bottom.
yeah, it's still doing it.
Do we need to turn those fans though?
Yeah, we're not turning it down. We're on the way.
Jack, you got the remote? You guys want to see the comments?
Is it better? We're good? Alright.
There's talk, but then there's a delay, so I got to wait for it.
Can't wait for it.
Make sure you keep your stuff up for comments, bud.
Brandon, remember, if you're reading comments, read them out loud.
Hold on, give me a minute.
Well, sorry, his dyslexia doesn't let him do that. One thing at a time.
Listen, y'all put me in charge of all this, so do what you get.
We put you in charge.
Oh, Lord.
What do you do?
I think Hannah's already started. But
He knows the
I see Thomas got a friend.
Hey, let's start this podcast, guys. Oh, okay. Good.
They don't even do that sometimes.
I'm the guy sharing it 50 damn pages a day.
Okay,
You're Mr. Popular.
Hey, who's the one that does all the baby like?
Hey, 6 o'clock.
I knew you were one. I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't him.
See?
15.
All right, y'all. Welcome to the Let's Go Carl podcast, episode 15. I'm Little Carl.
Big Carl.
Not Carl.
I'm a strong.
And our guest today is Austin Frey. And what's his Carl name?
Prep Carl.
Prep Carl.
What's up? Let's do some sponsors real quick. We gotta thank RCB America, Bart Does Towing, Candace Kiwi, Megan Freshies. Check her out on Facebook. Megan Freshies. Now I say we just kick it right into it. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, let's start off with the guest. We got a little bit of recap from Ambassador today. We can do the guest first.
I'd rather just do it.
Yeah.
Ambassador's
I
not
think
very
I want to
important.
talk about it.
No, that was horrible. Our cobble of the week is Thomas. So this guy goes out and practices with shield up, goes out and heat with shield up, right down the straightaways. It's a bad deal.
They did a lot of learning in the
Anything
short
can
amount of
be
time.
better.
By future time, he was better.
Definitely.
Did you at least close your visor by that time?
Yeah.
He came on very straight. Ooh, real quick. You know.
He went right along time on it with dirt with
Yeah. No.
he was on split. Coming off the grid maybe.
Yeah, that's about it. So let's do a little recap. Austin, you said you raced yesterday. Tell us what's going on. Where you raced at?
Yesterday we traveled up to Valdosta Georgia, South Georgia Karting Complex, and went up there and we started out the day. We got the track kind of ran in. We had track wasn't prepared very good. It was real ruddy, real rough. They went out and they kind of peanut buttered over the humps and stuff like that to try to kind of smooth the track out. Well, once they did that, the track was a little better. Went out there and we were doing okay time wise. We were still off about, I don't know, 2.5 seconds from the fastest I've been there. And went out there and got to where we were at end of second round of practice and rain. So we all sat there for about 2.5 hours, 3 hours, trying to wait for this delay, and got out to the track and we were kind of stepping around. The track was real soft and the groove was hard, but the rest of the track and everything was pretty soft. So we all knew it was going to be a one groove track. And pretty much most of the day, man, we were behind the ball. We just didn't have tires for that kind of track. You know, you needed something with a lot more internal and a lot more prep in it. And we were okay in the warm up. We were running forward, and I got booted out because the guy that was faster than me kind of got up underneath me, and it was all back from there. Pulled off track early, and tried to get zoned into qualifying, and that didn't work. So we ended up having a Junior 1 driver yesterday, and we ran champ karts and stuff, and Junior 1 driver was okay, kind of struggled a little bit, but we tried to do better throughout the day. We just did not have tires soft enough the whole day. So we just did what we could.
So basically, you look like a cop.
I look like worse than a cop, 100%, I promise.
You look as bad as me.
No, because I wasn't so high up in the go-kart.
That's difficult to look that bad.
You guys got jokes, huh? You guys got
I
jokes.
definitely did not look like Frankenstein in the go-kart. That's
Bro, hey, I tried, man. I tried, and I got out of it.
Yeah.
And let's start from the beginning. When did you start racing?
I started racing in 2003, East Bay Raceway Park, go-kart track. Yep, started there, and I met a few people and stuff on the start. And when I first showed up there, the first thing I ever remember was showing up there with the number 47, because John Lynch was like my guy, like football. Showed up, and the one that had my number was Alexis Beagle.
Yep.
So I had to get there. We had to cut the 7, and we cut it into 1. It was supposed to sing 47. So that's pretty much where 41 came from. Wasn't really significant in any way.
Gotcha.
So we started racing there, and and East Bay was a good track because you really had to drive, really had to learn to drive a kart there.
Yeah.
And it definitely helped me early in my career to be able to handle the better tracks for whenever we went to like Dirt Devils or Furman.
Right.
It was a lot better. Arvindale was similar, to it, but yeah, that's where it started pretty much, everything.
Yeah. Couple tracks, couple series, we all race together. FCKL, FKA.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even I think FDDS was making you rank and all that.
Yep, we ran FDDS a little bit there.
So now you're older, you got your own thing going. What made you want to start a business making tires?
Well, I wouldn't really consider it a business. It was just an option for me to be able to change chemicals to the way I like my program. It's so fortunate that we had luck and stuff over the years and stuff, and I figured that we've had people already asking, trying to sell it and stuff, and trying to buy it. So we figured we might as well just go ahead and try to sell some. So, and not only that, but the money it doesn't even go in our pocket, so it just goes back in the team to help with tires, pit costs, stuff like that. That's really all it goes for. It's just not, I don't look at it as to be a big money maker, but I mean, if it ever did get that big, it would definitely just help the team itself be able to buy. But like the Junior 1 driver we have right now, the only thing he shows up pays for is injuries. We cover everything else. We cover the motor, chassis, everything. So anything he damages, he kind of covers. We do a 50-50 split on it. If he wins, he gets 60% of the money I get for it.
Right.
So it's a pretty good deal for him. And the thing is that I wanted a kid only because I wanted to be able to see myself that small, be able to get help from a bigger team.
Correct.
That's basically all I looked at it as.
Okay.
Not necessarily as like a money maker.
Right. I mean, any racing, you're not going to make money.
No way. No.
I mean, it costs more money to pay for running a class than it is to, show up,
If you could show up every week and run for at least $500 and be able to win it, you can almost break even 100% of the time.
Right.
But you ain't gonna win 100% all the time. This is impossible.
Right.
Now.
So what was the biggest challenge of of doing the tire prep and what you ran different people's stuff and all that?
Yeah, I mean, when I first got back into the racing go-kart in 2017, we hooked up with Donnie Nall, good friends from a long time ago.
Yeah.
Hooked up with him, and his stuff, I still think he was still trying to perfect some of his stuff a little bit, but, I mean, we ran good with his stuff, but also didn't have the tire knowledge that I did now. But his chemicals all were great, but it was basically me, myself, in my mind thinking of back in the day, what we used to do, and it just did not work. So I went from him, and I went to Southern Comfort with Earl Porter, and Earl was a good friend of ours back in the day, and he helped us a little bit more with it, but it just still did not satisfy what I wanted.
Right.
Then Ira from Tice came back whenever Gator stopped driving for Jamie. He came back, and that's whenever we kind of took off with Magic Tech, and that's whenever I was like, man, I really like the stuff he has. It's really manipulative. You can make it work the way you want it, and you don't have to worry about the tire not working other than just being off on barrel.
Yeah.
So we stuck with his program for 2.5 years, and by far was the best thing. I mean, Jamie himself is like a lot of racers. I mean, you can ask him questions. He's not going to give you a direct answer, but he will give you a roundabout, and you just have to kind of like have common sense to be able to put it in one area.
Right.
So Jamie has given me information, small things that didn't mean much at first, but now that I know what I know now, it means a lot now. So like I take it in very big consideration now.
Right.
So.
Do you feel like your tire program, your tire prep can hang out with them guys?
Yeah, I mean we've had some top 3 finishes and stuff and heavy and stuff. I feel like just lately here we just have not had tracks that we've been prepared for the nature and stuff that has come, with the rain happening and everything. But the main thing is that the prep and stuff that I use, I've actually tested for about 2 years. So I threw away a lot of money taking and putting in tires, trying to get a program down to where it worked. So it was just kind of a thing that, not necessarily do I have to sell, but if you want it, I'll help. But my program for myself is a lot easier than, trying to go to someone like Jamie or Donnie or Earl or Jerry Mullis with Superior and saying, hey, I want to buy your stuff. They're not going to tell you how to use it, when to use it, any of that stuff, but we're at the track and we're always there. So if like something's working for us, we'll tell you exactly what we're doing.
Right.
It don't matter if we're racing against you or not. It all comes down to driver and having that right set of tires with the right amount of weight. It's all right down to it.
So I got a question on here. What is the biggest money race you won in your career?
Won a super heavy race of $1,200. That was the biggest one that I won. So I've never won anything more than that.
And with go-karts, you got different tires, Vegas, Maxxis, what's the other one? Reaper.
Was Unili's still around?
Firestones, Burrs.
So Josh told me if you answer the question wrong, we have to end the show.
Oh, okay.
What tire do you prefer?
I definitely don't have any Vegas in my trailer, so that would not be one. I definitely don't have any Reapers, so the tire I prefer would be a Maxxis right now. For sure.
As long as you didn't say Unili. If you just said that, we'd have had.
Honestly, if we had to go back to any tire that I could possibly even run again, it would definitely be a Firestone.
Oh, I love Firestone. So
Firestones are 2 to 3 tenths quicker than a Maxxis every day of the week. No, just because the structure of that tire was just so sound. So, no, this is not a paid infomercial at all. I promise.
I love Firestone.
Yeah, all I ever ran Maxxis, and then when I think it was FCL went to Vegas only.
Yep.
And then Daytona was Unili.
That was a nightmare.
So, if you had to, you've been on all these different tracks, you raced South Carolina, North Carolina, and what's the farthest you've been racing?
Furthest I've been racing was actually Margarettsville.
Wow.
That was basically right on the borderline of North Carolina and Virginia.
Gotcha. And all these different racetracks. You go from Daytona, you got Lime Rock, you come here, it's damn sand pit, you go up to Georgia, you get a little better clay. What kind of clay do you prefer to race on and work tires on?
Now, are we talking like from a knowledgeable side, or are we talking about a beneficial side? Beneficial side to be able to get the best program to go for the day definitely would be like up north track, because you can show up, you can have tires that are already white, ready to go, and you can just change the weeks of the tire and just change. You don't necessarily have to wipe much of that either. So down here, it really depends on how much you wipe, not necessarily during the week, but at the track, and what chemical you're on. Up there, it's not so much of a barrier there. You know, it's pretty wide open. I mean, you can have several different lines and they all kind of go the same. I mean, most people's chemicals anyways are all the same. They just kind of mix differently. But
Right.
for the most part, definitely up north would be a lot easier to run because it's not as much to hide. It's just, you know, having the right tire.
So, back in the day, I mean, we bought 2 tire machines. I ran with Cody Mallory. I ran with all these good guys. And cut tires was the thing back in the day.
Yep.
And my question to you is, do y'all still cut tires? Do you sand tires? What do y'all do now?
Well, the only track I would ever cut a tire at would be up north. I mean, only because down here we don't have enough side bite and bite with the dirt that's down here to be able to have a cut tire. Now, a little different for a junior driver. If you go to like Callahan and they calcium it and really bites up like it did before,
Right.
you can use a cut tire. But for the most part, you're going to be on fixed. We have in the past cut our tires for 50,000, taking about 15 off. But there's not much of a disadvantage down here as much as there is up there. I mean, you could be off 2/10 at least just by 10,000.
I mean, now, a Maxxis, Vega, Reaper, that's the same answer.
Mm-hmm.
You agree? Because I've seen people now these days who cut tires right there, right off the racetrack and be like, oh, it's faster, but, I'm not a tire guy. You are. So,
I like to consider myself.
I mean, if you can hang out with Carter, Mullis, Knopf, Jawbro, and all them guys, you're somebody.
I mean, of the people here, you're the most knowledgeable one.
Yeah, you're most knowledgeable.
By far.
That's why I call you to talk to you. So, I know back in the day we used to, for the hunter, we used to take a set of tires, run them, and put them on the shelf for 6 months.
Yep.
Now, on here I have, do you prepare tires 2 weeks in advance?
For the most part, it does come down to it sometimes, but it really depends on where you're running. Down here, for sure, you're going to have to work a tire for a while, but as in conditioning the tire, sometimes it's not better to condition too early because then you get too much chemical in the tire. So what we go by is a rule of thumb, as in summertime, we always do a 3 wipe. Wintertime, spring and fall, we do a 4 wipe, and then fall, we do a 6 wipe, because during the week, fall, you need more bite anyways, because when the track gets cold, the tire's not going to heat up as much. Down here, with it being so hot, you don't need as much, because then it pulls out back. So, definitely preparing a tire 2 weeks in advance. It really depends. If you're going to a big race, you go out, you scuff a set of tires, and you know how many wipes you need to have in that tire. I usually will do 1 or 2 wipes on the weeks that we're off. So when we're on the same week, we'll start wiping on like Sunday or Monday. We'll go and we'll wipe those tires at least once or twice a day for 2-3 days, and we'll stop wiping about Wednesday. Let the tire have time to cure, let it get deep in the rubber, so that way whenever you go to run, you have a good strong base to it.
So it's all about tire rotation.
Yes.
Always.
Yes.
So, how many go-karts do you normally have coming out of your trail? Weekly?
About 3 usually. 3. Yeah.
So, I like that. It makes it easier on you having another go-kart, another driver, because they wrap that in work. It's good. It's been beneficial for you. Yep. Really. Yep. That's why I noticed like a lot of local guys get beat, man. You can't compete with these guys. They got all these junior drivers, and boom, they figure it out. So,
to add on top of that, but it's not only that, but some of these bigger guys, they actually have group chat where they all work together as a team, and they'll put in there like what they're doing, what they did, what didn't work, what fell off, and they just have a large broadband of information that they have access to. All of us reporter will go up to the race, and we'll all be like all over the place, not trying to work together.
Right.
And it's just kind of like you guys are missing the point of coming from Florida. I mean, we used to take Florida and just try to team up against them when we go to DC. We'd all like Matthijs, Bennett, us. We would have Nicky Brankle. I mean, we would all be in the general area there, so that way we could all work together. It's not like that anymore. Everyone's all cutthroat nowadays.
And I don't get that everybody's hush hush and.
I mean, there's nothing to be hush hush about because it's just really just information that you gather, and just like Andy Partridge, he's our basically he works with me on tires and stuff, and we work together on chemicals and stuff. Him in general, he can take a situation and figure it out quicker than I know of anybody. I mean, he's very, very quick about figuring it out. And it all comes down to that, just knowing what to look for and how to change quick and what to change to. So it's just experience.
So do you like a champ car or a flat car better?
For racing wise, definitely champ car. Comfortability wise, flat car for sure. I mean, when you're riding in a champ car and you're in midsummer, I mean it's hot. I mean, I just got me a full driving suit, so it's like.
Why did you do that?
Well, I did that only because it was going to be a lot easier than my jacket.
Is that the new thing now?
Yeah.
Because back in the day, it was all about the leather. All about the leather. Now everybody's wearing suits, got sponsors. I'm like, what is that?
Yeah, well, I mean, the suit is a lot easier because, I mean, you can just get in that car and slide in. You don't have to worry about nothing catching. I mean, jacket, sometimes when you're bigger or something like that, like I was, it gets caught on the seat or it doesn't want to tuck in on the side. It just makes it uncomfortable.
I feel like it kind of makes sense with the champ car too, because if them belts do get locked and motors on fire, it would be nice to have a little extra protection, on your whole body to have the suit on. Because sometimes them belts will get locked and you can't get them off.
But I'll be honest with you, I mean, that driving suit is just as cool as having a pants and jacket on. So it's very thin.
What does that cost?
I think I got it on sale. It's like $400 made, custom everything from the office.
Are they like one layer, two layer, like?
It's like that. I mean, very, very
Real
thin.
thin.
Yeah.
Breathable.
Yep, and it's got flex seams on the legs and the back, so when you sit in the go kart, everything's nice and easy, and the material's easy to clean.
It's the thing, bro.
So I know you guys get miserable wearing 3-layer.
We thought people just want to look cool. When we came back this year helping Jake Lamb and stuff, I'm like, dude, what is all the suit thing about? And I'm like, what is this? Because me back in the day, man, you got orange jacket or something.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah. If you had an orange jacket, gray or red, those were the guys. Yeah. I hated going to an FKA race and seeing a couple of blues and red leather jackets in it. Because you'd be like, yep, they're gonna be good.
Is that the only jacket you ever got? It's a Maxxis?
Yep, I got it. That's the only jacket I've ever had taken away from me in 2009. Because Friday night we were racing. We had a little rainstorm come through and they cut the track. And we went out there. I qualified third at senior champ. And we had Donnie Knoll, Shay Chavis, me, Jason Moakes. There was Jerry Mullis. There was a few other guys all right there in the front. I mean, it's just tough. Well, I went out there and Matthijs, he come off the track with Gator and he went out there and waxed everything.
Yeah.
Right? He came off track a couple nights. We put those same exact tires on my go-kart. We went out there. We were a whole straightaway ahead, halfway of all them guys, and it was bad. And it started sprinkling a little bit, and they ended up actually stopping the race. And they said, "All right, look, since we didn't finish the race, we're going to continue it tomorrow." Half the time, if you have a rain or a moisture delay or something like that, it gets called right then.
Yes.
But they could not stand someone being a no-name come up there and be able to do that. And that's what it comes down to. It's all about who you know and where it gets you.
My year 2010, I should have won too. I killed them in junior quarter champ, and I should have won the ELs class. I was pushing Slick Nick and someone that did my clutch, we had a shoe clutch, and they ended up walking up. So my brother-in-law walked in, started me up, and they threw me off the racetrack. But no one saw me. It's just a bad deal. But when I won that, the nationals, everybody before coming over, hey man, good job, this and that. But you don't see a Florida guy win that very often.
No.
So when that happens, like, yeah, take that. We can do this, you know. And why is karting so damn expensive?
I mean, it's literally more expensive than street stuff on a weekly weekend, unless we tear something up.
I think what it comes down to is that there's so much stuff that goes into CNC parts. I think that's what's made it so expensive. And the welding jobs got more expensive. You know, big welding and stuff. Because that's what all these guys went to now. It's all big welding. So I mean, you're gonna pay someone $45 an hour to take weld go karts all day.
Are the Ultramax made by robots?
No, they're all TIG welded. Yep. And definitely the CNC part definitely is one of the biggest parts. But motor wise, every single time you hear it, Josh knows, they'll tell you, oh hey, we're gonna go to this project clone, it's gonna be cheap, easy to bounce sport. What happened? Look where we're at now. We're paying $1,250, $1,500 for a motor, and you gotta send it off to get it rebuilt every 200, 240 laps.
Mm-hmm.
So it's necessarily what's made it expensive is the people that want to be up front to pay the money.
Right.
So that's why they keep doing it. And like parking for the Big O, 3 spots, $300.
That's insane.
Just 3 parking spots.
Tom's got that.
That's insane.
He makes that
Hey,
out.
I think
It makes that
pay
Hey, I'll always tell him, I was like, I'll sponsor your left front load nuts.
Yeah, hell yeah.
That's crazy, man. $100 a spot.
Yeah, I think another thing is too that makes it expensive is that tires themselves is the maxes are the ones that last the longest. Okay, but the problem is that if you want to stay up front, you have to have a good selection, but you also have to have a fresh rotation. So it's good to have tires that are 6 week old because then you have every kind of situation you need. Very, very seldomly do you need a tire that's 3 months or 6 months. Very rare.
Right.
But usually the bigger guys keep 1 or 2 sets of those.
Right.
Usually.
So for our viewers to understand with go karting, so if you go to, we'll say, Daytona, you got a 3-day show. Just for you, how many classes are you going to run a day?
Probably 2 a day.
Okay. How many sets for the 3 days would you need?
You would figure that you would need at least 2 sets a day per class.
So that tire bill, just your tire bill, would be what, $3,000?
And that's the thing, you could get away with 1 set of tire per day per class. You
Right.
can do it. I mean, I'm not saying you can't.
But
Hey, we're in deep pockets. We don't have a lot of money to be able to throw in the sport like a lot of these big teams.
Right.
I mean, I've heard of some guy that was there that we used to race with. He bought 42 sets of tires to go to Daytona last year for 3 go karts.
Yeah.
So it could get expensive if you make it, but it's having the tire available for you. It's more what it is. And the thing is, if that tire don't touch the track, you only have 6 weeks of rotation.
So how the tires that you ran, can you rework them and use them later on as spares or something?
I mean, we went to Callahan, the Hurricane race, and we finished second. We finished.
As long as you look good.
Yeah, as long as you put some harsh chemicals in them, you can make them work. But I haven't touched these tires forever. I re-rolled them, and Callahan it rained, and we went out there. We finished second. We were running third in the pro and got taken out. But those tires were from Daytona. But past that, they're junk. But the thing is that, like the saying is, another one man's junk, another man's treasure. So the local track racers that we run with, I basically have guys that always ask me for takeoffs. And the thing is that it sucks because we lose money, but I'll take them, and if I feel like I don't need to charge for them, I'll give them to them. But if it's a set that's got a brand new edge on it and I've never ran it, I'll charge like $10 a tire. I mean, you can't beat that in general anyways.
No.
I mean, considering the right side tire is $65 new.
Right.
So it's just like, I got my time out of it. I probably went out and I scuffed it, but there's no sense of taking a tire like that that's going to beat you with a 10 ball at a big race. It's just not worth it.
So basically the point is, like, from my experience, we always had, a soft, a medium, and a hard.
Mm-hmm.
Is that why you need so many damn tires?
Yeah, I mean, it can come down to that. I mean, you always want to carry some soft tires in the trailer. I mean, just in case rain. That's something I didn't have. So,
Bit you in the ass.
and it bit me pretty good. So, going from fourth running in the warm-up race and then 22nd in qualifying was a hard one to swallow.
Did you have any PTSD?
Yeah. You know, the ride home was very quiet. Let's just put it that way. It was very bad.
Your dad wasn't talking?
No, he's playing his casino game. That's what he was doing on his phone, man. Yeah.
So, as us big car guys, we go by bike.
Yep.
As a go-kart, what do you go by for tightness, looseness?
It definitely the tire itself, the duro of it. You know, you can have three sets of tires. Each one of them be 2 points different. The soft tire might not have as much bite as a 52 tire because it will be able to hook up to that surface better.
Right.
So it really depends on the duro of the tire. But for the most part, we like to go and take like a fresh set. So like I told you earlier, we'll go up and we'll show up with 90cc tires all the way around. We'll have a 1 week, 2 week, and a 3 week. I'll work them all that week and everything. I'll send it out there. And if we're in second round practice and we're wide open and we're not locked down or anything like that, we're doing good. I know that we're probably going to be on a 2 week time. Yeah. Now, if I go out there and my front end starts popping, I know I have too much bite. So then therefore I'll have to go to overtime. So I'll go to the 3 week time. So the go-kart itself actually tells us whenever as an experienced driver, it tells us what kind of bite and stuff we have. A junior driver, the best way to tell from them is if you look at their hands whenever they're going. Half the time, you can't get any info from them anyways.
What's the hardest thing with a junior driver working with them to understand? Hey, what is the go-kart doing?
It happened this weekend, yesterday, but sent our driver out there for junior one for qualifying. He come back in, he goes, the car's loose all over the place. But then again, he was 8/10 off, and we went on a low air pressure, figuring that's what we would be. But the problem was it wasn't the low air pressure; it was the chemical we were wiping it wrong. So certain tracks, the chemical will be wrong completely.
Right.
So, but you can look at the driver, you can look at the way it's carrying itself through the corner. Mainly, it's the center of the corner. The junior one driver is not necessarily getting in; it's the center off. If they don't look like they're yanking up out of the hole, you got something going on you don't know.
Yeah.
You know. But if the go-kart is stable, that's the main thing. Junior one driver, you want to make sure the go-kart is stable. Because if it's not stable, they're going to let off. They're going to try to change everything, hit the brakes, whatever they can to try to get control of it. But the problem is that junior one, they're on such a highway gear, you can't let off. You have to be wide open. And if they have to let off, it kills 2-3 tenths off the time.
How do you now? I help Jake, and I'm a calm guy. He pissed me off. Come on, guys.
Calm.
Come on,
I
guys.
think he's very, very not calm.
When we go kart.
Have you met my wife? She's worse than I am.
No, she's calm at the racetrack. You're not calm.
She goes after the guys. But
we gotta understand. We remember your dad, John. He wasn't too calm sometimes.
Like, hey, if I suck, you never know what happened to the trailer. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So as you're teaching these kids, and that's awesome. I mean, that's cool. I can see that you helping the younger kids out.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us didn't have that, man. It was just us and our dads struggling, and it took so many years for us to figure this out.
Yep.
How do you keep your cool with your driver? Because go-kart fast, tires are right, everything's lining up, and your driver just is awful.
Well, this is how I put it. Sometimes it's not always the driver. That's the thing. Is that sometimes the tires, sometimes go-kart, it's like if you look at the go-kart and you're running, okay, let's put it this way. If he goes out and he qualifies in one class, he goes out there and he's 4/10 off pole, right? He goes out the next one, you do nothing different with the tire, and he goes out and he's 8/10 off pole. Most of the time, it's not necessarily the driver. Most of the time, tire is about 90% of the battle, for sure. Now, there is some times where the driver is just not there. I mean, it happens. But sometimes you gotta think to yourself like, hey, 9 years old, what did you know at 9? You know, you can't sit there and get all down shape and get all mad. You know, you can get mad at yourself all you want, you know, but trying to have someone come on to try to help you and try to help them, you can't get mad at them. It's just simple as that. If you get mad at them, all it's going to do is just going to push you away. Right. And they're just going to not try. They're not going to do anything they need.
Trust me, I know it's frustrating, and I haven't dealt. I did a little bit of junior stuff, but you set on Paul all 3 classes of your thing, and he just shoved the nose right on the first lap. You know, that's frustrating.
But then again, like I said, maybe he shoved the nose because maybe the last chemical was wiped on him before.
So is Thomas the closest thing you got to the junior driver?
That's about only.
He sleeps on
I'm
those
so
weekends?
tired of y'all. This is about our guests, and y'all coming at me. I'm tired of this.
So have go-karts gotten to the point where you don't really care about the chassis setup? Do you even scale go-karts?
Yeah, I mean, most of the time, if we set a go-kart on scales, it's really just toe and camber.
Get it in the ballpark.
Yeah, I mean, but if we're running Maxis or something like that, and we're running it for the next 2 weeks or something, we'll only touch it maybe once a month or so, roughly. I mean, some people like to touch it every week, and I get it, but no matter what you do, just like a big car, the toe's going to change, the camber's going to change, because whenever you have more side bite, it's going to put more pressure on that spindle.
You don't change cross going to different racetrack?
Not necessarily. I mean, if you need to change cross, you change a little bit other than airplane. I mean, for the most part. I mean, if you're in the ballpark of where the chassis manufacturer wants you, as long as you're there, you can change a half-pound air or 80% of cross and go for it.
Right.
So, I mean, our chassis builder is kind of against that. What?
So we just had a different driver.
Yeah, my driver.
He likes to hit a little bit every once in a while.
They will be faster. We'll take this tire here and there.
We gotta put it on the scale.
Yeah, they tell me right, I got to put on the scales. He's rough on the court, dude. He's as bad as I was when I was a junior driver. Just run everybody over.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's another thing too. Is it's like this last weekend, I'm surprised that if I put it on the scales, the camber's not out because it was so rough that I might have to replace 2 spindles for $70 a pop.
Right.
Yeah, I know that's not.
You know, and the thing is that the thing is that like if you scale that go kart and it's 110% correct, and you go there and you come back and the camber's different, change the spindle. Don't change the go-kart to manipulate it back to where you need it, because that spindle's already out of degree, and with go-karts, it's very critical having that stuff consistent all the time.
Right. See, my thing is we keep a spare block, tail block, and a spindle and bolts. And we got the whole kit. We knock it off, we're putting everything new. That's just how I am. Because it's hard to see if an L-block's bent. But if the L-block's bent, it bent the chassis.
Yeah, most of the time.
Most of the time.
But, I mean, I will say most of the L blocks, so if you hit hard enough, they will break off and not make that. But a lot of these newer chassis that are coming out are real thin tubes. So, like, any kind of sensitive, especially like the Newsom kit, when we were over at Callahan, he backed it in the wall and we actually had to find it. Jesus. Brand new chassis only been rode twice.
How much is a new go-kart race ready?
Since we're an Ultramax dealer now, race ready and everything shipped to us, everything's about $3,900. And that's with us coming in, set it up completely brand new, everything's done. And we actually have a program where we're actually going to take you to the track per day and work with you to help you. Not necessarily to get you and just say, all right, here you go.
Yeah, see you later.
Yeah. Because, I mean, Ultramax is kind of a chassis that's kind of like faded away here, but we want to work with you. Whenever you get a good finish and you feel confident, that's when you can far away from us and do whatever you want. But until you have that, we don't feel like you should go anywhere else right now.
So, say some Joe Ho says, hey, Austin, I want to be on your program. I want to be out of your trailer. I want you to be my guy to work on my stuff. What does that cost?
So, pretty much the way we put it is that if he wants to have a tire cycle, and the thing is good is that, I mean, I have 32 sets of tires. So, if he goes...
Calm down, buddy. Calm down.
I almost fell out of your
Calm down.
God.
I have 32 sets of tires.
I was over there in the shower.
If he buys 2 new sets of tires, he puts in the rotation every month. That's all I need, because then any tire that we go to a race or something like that, we always have a tire we can throw on there, no matter if it's his that he bought or mine. But the thing is that they're all consistently working.
Right.
So, and the same guy does it. But if he does that and he wants to come and run out of my trailer and he wants me to take care of the go-kart and all that stuff, it'd be about $800 a month.
That ain't bad. That ain't bad at
You don't
all.
have that many tires per day.
Oh, we got 6. I mean, we really got 8 or 9. But I'm the type of guy where I like to have a song.
But I'm saying,
Even
and
a
then
four.
like your late model, what, maybe 2 sets?
Well, you know, we've got a practice set, we got a heat set, we got a feature set.
Right.
You know,
Maybe
And then-
some spares.
there's some spares.
Same thing with go-kart. You're not gonna, most of the time, you're not gonna take that same set of tires and bolt it back on again because the internal we have in them, it evaporates as the heat draws it out. So you only have so many laps that internal is going to lap.
And what I figured out, when I find a set of tires that work, that's what I run. I'll run that if it's the last practice, I'm like shit. This set right here is gonna be qualifying. Then I'll figure out if it's still got a little life in it, I'll run it maybe in a point race or a pro race, but you know, I'm not a tire expert with this guy. So I think 30%.
32 sets. And I got extra room sitting in the garage.
That money just going.
Hey, I had got good deals because I had guys that ran for me and they got out of the go-kart racing and they just said, hey, you can keep my rent. So I got like 6 up here, 4 up here, and it just kept adding up. So it was like, I mean, every time we turned around, because we had gone to a buyout before, and it was all old rents anyways. So we cycled out some of the ones that were kind of like that last week, and it just kept going. We just, as we went, we just kept buying more rents. But tire-wise, I mean, I'm not saying that all my tires are new. You know, I have tires in there that are 6, 7 months to a year old.
So, what is your off the grid?
Karts says hi.
Arthur says hi.
Derek says you got a fresh haircut.
Yes,
Fast haircut.
thanks, buddy.
You got a fast haircut.
Fast haircut?
Fast haircut.
What is your opinion on, you know, you said before we started the show, you had 26 dang classes for yesterday.
Yeah.
What is your opinion on having that many dang classes?
I mean, there's good and bad. I mean, the bad part is, so we ran this at the Callahan race. So we had 27 classes at Callahan, and our Junior 1 driver went out first, and our Junior 1 driver went out again on the 11th race. The super heavy driver we had went out 10th, and then he went out again like 20th. But there was so much of a gap. And then my class, I didn't start my first race till the 14th class. Any of my races. So there was no one in the bigger classes to be able to go off tire-wise what we need to do. Because the Junior 1 driver was so much different tire-wise than the heavy, as what I'm starting to figure out a little bit more. Right. It's a lot more different.
So, you know, I get to the point, I mean, back in the day, we had, you know, a regular race, then a pro. That's it. That's all we had.
Yeah.
We were done by 11 o'clock. Even nationals, we're 11 o'clock at the hotel, done. Now we're racing until midnight, 1 o'clock, and all this. It's insane.
Yeah.
That's why I like a big car. I can show up at 5, be gone by 10 in the house. You know?
But you guys only run 6 o'clock. And East Bay really, I mean, it's quick turnaround.
Right.
You know, and the go-karts is quick turnaround, but whenever you send a Junior 1 out, or Junior 1 class out there, half the time they don't even make all the laps. There was over the county race, they only made 6 laps.
See, that's
they
what
ran
I
out
don't
on time
get,
limit.
man.
20 minutes ran out on time limit.
Like back when we was kids, even though like you 5-year-olds could go out there, line up double file, keep their tires up, not touch each other, and be professional. But you guys, now it's like they're single file and the guy's doing this, you know, double up, and they're just like, we don't know what that means.
Problem is, the problem I noticed now, we were taught.
Were you trying to start
Well,
scratching the heat race?
No,
Oh,
I didn't.
so did you not know you started outside?
I did not know where I started. No one told me where the board was.
That's why you're the
I
cop,
was just
dude.
supposed to go.
All the way, Tom.
I found it for the heat race.
I'm kind of starting to think that I'm not the top of the show.
No, you're the good guy this time, buddy. Now, if we had heard you did something bad or worse, then you might have might be common.
Because I was sitting there and they're like, with your race, and they're not going green. I'm like, what are they doing? They're pointing someone outside pole. I'm like, well, they're pointing Thomas outside.
Dude,
pole.
he's
when
used
I
to having a
see-
damn race even in his damn hair.
Yeah.
Not only that, but I kept trying to go, and everyone's trying to stuff their tires, and I can't get around them.
Just hit 'em.
You
Fuck, I
just
almost did.
drive on the outside through the grass like somebody else
No,
did.
because then I.
I'm talking about the people that pulled off, you know? That one's a little kid.
So what I noticed is from back in the day, our dads taught us right. If we didn't fucking run good or we did something stupid, they'd tell us, dude.
Oh, yeah.
You know, now these days, these kids see the heavy drivers just run over each other, send each other off the racetrack,
And it's never their fault.
and it's never their fault.
Well, actually, I think that's partially right, but I really think it's actually the parents. The parents really are teaching the kids the wrong way because half the time now you'll hear one parent say like, "I don't give a F.
Crash him.
I want you to get to the front. If you have to wreck someone, do it." You know, it's just like not the best way to teach kids anymore. You know, and the thing is that you can't. It's hard to get on the kids in today's generation because all the kids are soft now. I mean, we all know that.
Well, and if someone sees you yelling at your kid, they're going to call them
Yeah.
Secret Services on you or
Yeah,
something.
they're trying
I seen that
PCF and
fruit.
stuff.
Dude, I used to flick off bad moment when I was little.
I know.
Because that fucker would run me over and was fuck
Do
you.
you guys ever talk to him anymore at all?
No.
I've seen him.
I've seen that he's running late model.
He's got a couple of cars. He's got like a truck, a modified, a late model. I seen him out at East Bay with the modified nationals. He's been around.
Yeah.
But other than that, you don't really see the asphalt guys are mostly dirt. It's not like go-karts. Everybody can do both. You're either asphalt or you're dirt. There's no, unless you're like a Crown Vic or a front wheel drive or something.
I mean, I know Brad's dad used to do asphalt all the time.
I
I figured him running dirt go-karts, he would have been a dirt driver.
I think he had mentioned he wanted to try to get into
Now,
modified
He is a badass in a damn local modified and asphalt. He can drive a shit out of modified.
He's just a badass in general.
Thank you. So, what is one thing you would change about karting now these days?
If you cut the number of classes, add wings to champ carts.
I'm sorry, that's so stupid.
Yeah, the wing thing is not very good. The one thing I would change for racing is that when we have a big event, I would probably level the playing field and probably just make everyone buy a set of tires at the track.
So you agree with it? I was going to ask this too. Where you get to the track, if you run 3 set of classes, you only get 3 sets, or 1-1. Like you can only work on your tires when you get.
Yeah, well, I like the whole idea about the scanning, and being able to do it that way. But if you think about it, you could actually sit there and say, all right, you're running 2 classes today. That's 1 set of tires for sure. You have an option to buy a second set of tires, just like they do with the Max National. And it really levels the playing field on like knowledge wise. Right. But also but it's just like, I mean, there's a couple things I would change. I mean, not just one.
Well, tell them to come on.
We got all day.
I feel like the go-karts itself, what is killing it is the bigger teams have so much money.
I'm glad you said it.
That's really what's killing them. I mean, you can see the bigger teams. Jeremy Morse, he works with Damien on. He's putting time into his kids. He's like really, really doing a good thing, trying to help these kids and trying to teach them what flags mean what and all this stuff. Trying to get the rookie kids to go. And they actually race really clean up north. But that's one little section. There's not a idol like that everywhere. I mean, and the thing is that when you show up to the track, I have 32 sets. Okay, Matt Connell will pull in with 180 sets of tires and a trailer.
Don't be taking a drink right now.
180 sets of tires, and he knows exactly what is done to every single set in that trailer.
I do this kind
I could never sit there and be organized enough to know by heart. Like he has no writing really on the tire. He knows exactly where everything is.
I don't like
I'd be like, I think this one has this in it, but I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
So like,
If they would do kind of what Vega did, if they would say, okay, 3 to 4 sets per driver, You're scanning these 3 sets. If it rained like this last weekend, you can't just go and change to another set. You have to beat down one of them sets. I feel like that would really level the playing field a lot. Being able to scan in sets you think is going to be for that track, because, I mean, the way the track was going, some people would have had moderately soft stuff, but they wouldn't have had super soft like 30 and stuff like that.
Right. Well, do you get ever intimidated sometimes when you pull in?
You see Renegades there.
No, I just know he's going to come over and tell me I'm slow.
But when you pull into these big races and you see MC Motorsports, you see the Knob, you see David, you see all these guys, you're like, okay.
We're on the second today.
I'm the little guy, you know, and do you ever get a little frustrated? Like, damn, man, these.
No, actually, whenever I show up to the track, I really don't care who's there. Only because I just know that they can have just as bad a day that I can have, or they can have just as good a day as I can have. Right. It really depends on how I pick and choose them. So realistically, I just focus a little bit more, and I get myself to prepare my mind for what is to come that day. So not necessarily, it's a mindset. So worrying about someone is not necessarily something you need to do, because, like I said, it don't matter. They could show up and they could have 100 sets of tires, but the thing is that they have between 100 sets of tires and pick that's right.
I can tell you this: you got 32 sets, he's got 182. Guess what? Knopf had 3 that year. You won the War 100. I like that. So go ahead and go through a couple of these. What's all the chassis you ran?
Man, I've ran Ultramax since I started. You know, with my very first go-kart, and the only other chassis I ran was the Shadow. And that was a flat kart. I ran it one time, and that was it.
Was it that bad?
No, whenever you go out to East Bay and you get lapped by the 3rd lap, you really should probably be in that class. So that's what it was. It was kind of like, hey, go home and read your book, son.
So I noticed you finally got a nickname,
Yeah.
Iceman. Where did that come from?
Whenever we were racing with Austin Clark and them, they actually come on there, and he's Halterwood. That's his nickname on Top Gun.
Right.
And back then, I used to have my hair spiked up on tips, like Iceman, like Top Gun. So necessarily, that's how I got it. But over the years, it has developed like kind of like pretty much when I'm in the field, it's kind of a threat, anyways. You know, and whenever I come up to the front, it's pretty much the field I go with stuff.
Oh, it's crash shit.
It's done. Yeah.
I was crashing.
Yeah. No, not that. I'm not crashing. But I mean, like Coker at one time, we started 27th over at Callahan, and we come from 27th to 2nd, running on Coker's bumper at Callahan, and it was 2 laps to go, and I passed Coker for the lead. He thought he was going to be able to change positions with me going through the corner. He said, once I seen you hit that corner and you pulled a kart length and a half on me, he said I knew I was done. And that was definitely one of the Iceman races for sure. I've done it quite a few times. Started from the back or near back from the front.
That's the best feeling.
It's fun. So relieving. It's
like finally figuring it out today.
At the top.
So for our fans, you know, you did do you had a short big car experience.
Yeah.
Do you ever want to get back into a big car?
Necessarily, if I got back into a big car, I'd still like it. I mean, I loved the late model I had. I just liked how you get on throttle and fast and kind of lift up on it. Being able to feel all the horsepower, you know. The main thing I want to get back in a big car is.
Oh, look at me.
Yeah, great baby.
They don't have horsepower.
Yeah, actually, whenever I was running, I actually had an open motor. I had a big one.
Yeah, late models don't have horsepower anymore. My street sauce got more horsepower than late models.
Really? Yeah.
Where's your horsepower?
Over there somewhere.
Oh yeah, motor builder.
Yeah. No, I mean, I would get definitely back in the big car, but I would really get back into my dad because my dad really enjoyed the big car. He was a kid that was actually grew up in Brownstown, Indiana, over at the Speedway there, and actually my great grandpa was an electrician for Brownstown Speedway back in the day, whenever he lived there. And my grandpa would go there. My uncle Mark, his brother, would actually help a racer over there work on his car to be able to run and stuff. And my dad would be the kid that would go over to the pits and sit in their cars after they're done racing and be able to act like they're driving. So, and my dad's kind of thing, he's always wanted to do that his whole life, to be able to drive that.
Yeah, track time's a lot easier for the car. When you're at the track, it's just focused on racing, and then when you're not racing, you kind of hang out. Like you might do a couple things here and there, but it's not as busy as a go-kart day. You're only there for a few hours, and you don't have to push the race car up to the grid and then pick it up and set it down.
Yeah. You don't have to worry about the driver weighs 120 pounds or 300 pounds.
We never had that problem. We had light go-karts.
Yeah. The young boys.
I know. Got it. So we'll go ahead through these questions real quick. Why has the USA classes faded out?
UAS?
Yeah.
I think it's faded out because it's just not something that's very popular down here. It's a class that shows up kind of like Jim Park. I mean, it shows up kind of when it wants to. We had a UAS Grand National at Jasper 3 years ago. That was actually still flagging at that time with Laura Series, and we actually got called in as one of the best. I guess it would be a technical team. We got called in as that, so we had our own flag and everything, and we went to that over Jasper. We flagged that whole thing, and it was 100 laps, and it was 5,000 win, I think it was. But yeah, Jake Davis running it. I mean, you got a lot of guys running it. And, it was a local guy that actually ended up winning it.
That's what I'm talking about. Thomas, you got 100 laps?
I ain't got 100 laps. You got 100 laps?
Hey,
We'll get to you, Bob, in a minute.
I guarantee this. If you can last 100 laps in that thing without getting tired and staying consistent, I give you 100 grand.
Shit, let's start practicing now, Thomas. Let's start practicing, bro. We got to tap.
You know why? Because I know you won't be able to do it.
We get a break or do we not get a break?
No break.
No break?
The G-forces that thing puts on your body is so hard. And just like we're going for the Big O for the limited stuff, I mean, you're pulling G's through the corner that just tear up your body quick. I mean, some of these guys in the pros and stuff like that, they get tired by like last 12. And they've been doing this stuff every weekend.
That's why they hope they get the lead quick and just stretch it out real quick.
Yeah, exactly.
I miss seeing them big 20 cart fields of unlimited wedges out there.
Wow.
Sometimes.
Don't come down here now.
Sometimes.
I also like seeing the innovation, like when who was it that put the snowmobile engine on the cart? Batman.
Yeah, it's Batman guy. Yeah, no, that was pretty cool. The 4-stroke, I think it was.
That thing was a monster.
No, the guy that actually won it, that UAS Grand National, he actually had a 4-stroke on it. But dude, when he got on it, it sounded like a big block motor, like a V8. It was crazy how throated it was.
So we only got a couple left. You got any plans for some big races coming up?
Yeah, I mean, the Big O Tribute in Blacksburg, South Carolina. No, Blacksburg, no, it's not Blacksburg.
Blacksburg?
No, it's not Blacksburg. That's Georgia. I can't remember where it's at now. I know
Bro,
Iron City. I know
you got
it's
so
Iron
good.
City.
Now you just had a brain
I know
fart.
it's Iron City. Iron City Motorplex. I know that. So it's in South Carolina. Anyways, I know that's one of our big races. The next one would be the race at Fruitland Park. And they got that 5,000 to win memorial race for the fallen heroes. And then after that, I mean, the World 100, and that's about it, really.
So what's the most? Mr. Jones said he wants to take the challenge. You need to flush the bottle by 3 laps. Calm down. So what is the most prestigious kart race to you?
Prestigious. Definitely the Maxis Maximus. I mean, that's the most prestigious thing to win. I don't care if it's pays money or not. Once I win that orange jacket, I'm done. Like, I'm hanging up my racing gloves and everything, I'm done. I'll do tires, I'll do all that stuff still, but I'm not going to race myself. That was one thing that was a bucket list thing I've always wanted to have to accomplish, and race at Dogwood people. So I have not done that.
Dude, I won 4 jackets that year. And I'd say it was a good year, man. I just got lucky. And once you get that thing, you're done, bro. You won everything you could, you know?
That's what it is. I mean, when I was younger, and the time that I did it and I won, it'd be totally different than if I won now. Because I know right now I'm at my peak right now, and I know that I'm going to be 29 in September. So it's kind of like my time's going to be coming up here in the next 5-10 years. I have my son Braxton; he's going to be here in September. So yeah, I got 5 years, and then he's going to be racing. So there's no way I'm probably going to be able to afford it.
So 35 motor, baby. That's going to be us.
Yeah.
So we got told to ask you about your nickname your mom gave you.
Well, say who said it though.
Yeah, it's my dad. I know it's my
I didn't
dad.
know.
He ain't gonna tell me a name.
I was just making
What,
sure.
I don't know what nickname my mom gave me. I can't remember that.
Well, we're gonna have to wait for it to come up in the comment.
I've been going by Iceman for years. You know.
So you got a couple. I mean, we're almost done. We're gonna get with you and get with him real quick. You got sponsors you want to name out?
Yeah, CTH Pest Solutions, Chris Lee. He does a lot for us. We got Prayscapes LLC. We have Matthijs Plumbing. He sponsors us too. That's really about it for sponsors. And then people I like to thank other than on top of that, Chris Jewell coming in and out week to week and helping us compare notes and stuff like that. The Newsomes being able to help us at the track whenever Nick's driving. My dad for being chef. Andy Partridge for helping us with info, and Ricky Boss, Next Wave Engines, and then Ryan Thompson with Premier Club.
No, your dad's.
And Sean Pittman with Ultimate Racing.
Your dad's a fire guy.
No more. No, my dad, it's like one of them things. It's like you'll sit there and like I know for my sake, I know what I need to do, and he'll say something like this, like you gotta go feed that car. That's what you gotta do. It's very simple back in the day. So you gotta go fizz that car. That's what you gotta do.
No.
All he said was Iceman from top.
Yeah, we already went over that. Come on, guys.
Come on, Dan.
So we're gonna go this through real quick. Thomas, go ahead and tell us how you did last night, real quick.
Well, I got the opportunity to run a flat cart, and I haven't ran kart too much growing up. I had a couple races in a champ kart when I was about 11, and besides that, I've been in a big kart since I was 17. But had an opportunity to run that with Michelle Rudolph and Michael Rudolph. They gave me the opportunity. Went out for practice, and it was just horrible. It was horrible. I didn't know the track. I was running inside everywhere, bottom feeding. And this guy comes over here and tells me, you could flat foot that thing. You just got to find the line. And I got there for the heat race. I started, I think
Outside pole, though, we covered this.
Yeah, outside pole. I started outside pole, but started the heat race. Got loose, dropped back. Watched where everyone was running, found that line, just got consistent throughout it. Some dude, his bumper came off, so they pulled him off the track, and then that put me second because I was third. And then we had like 3 to go. So I just was like, okay, I'm gonna stay consistent, stay in that line. I was getting my back bumper beat off, son. He was coming. And he got me loose on the last lap, coming out of 2, and I held it. And I brake checked him going into 3 just to block this and secured a second for the heat race.
Hey.
Let me brake check what we doing.
On pavement, let me just brake check it real quick.
Hang on, let me lock his rear end up real quick so he can shove me off the track.
Well, see, the problem is he's used to drum brakes.
Yeah, no.
He's never.
I'm used to some hesitation. I'm not like real quick.
Not that sensitive stuff.
So
He touched the brakes the first time.
yeah, I got second in the heat race, and then started outside pole in the feature. Tires got loose again, coming off the start, dropped back to 4th, was just running a consistent line, caught up to 3rd, and then got loose a couple of times, and then went off in the grass, started mowing the grass,
I think that's when he tried to hold her wide open.
No, yeah.
You don't want to know evolution. You don't mow the grass there.
Yeah. No, but I get loose, get out, get the cart back on the track, and then some dude stalled out, so put me 3rd.
Stop rocking.
Had 4 laps to go. And I just, ran the line and stayed with them to the end and just finished out, just trying to pick stuff up, whatever I can, get experience all around.
Well, you definitely improved as the day went
Yeah,
on.
I can say you
It
definitely.
was a night and day difference from practice to feature.
Yeah.
You went from Cobb of the Year to just Cobb of the Week.
Yeah,
So you-
just the week. No, but I was watching last night, and I was watching practice, and then I went and watched the feature, and I was like, yeah, that was night and day difference.
I'm just glad you put that body down.
So, who ended up getting tired?
Lesson.
Lesson?
Cricket.
I showed up and I drove.
Hey, that's all right. That's all you gotta do, man. Sometimes.
Yeah, he was Hollywood. So,
This week.
yeah. Let's go ahead and thanks for sponsors, man. Go ahead. Who you got?
Majestic Fabrications, Yates Motorsports, Motor Day Manufacturing.
Can you stop rocking?
I'm not rocking.
Stop spinning.
Trying to think.
My grandpa helping me out. He's retired and he goes to work to help fund the race car. You know what I mean? So that means a lot. Everyone that just helps me day in and day out.
Old Joe Jones.
You got Barstow Motorsports, Oscar Roofing, LaRoche Towing, Tampa Test Kitchen, Fatback Racing Engines, Boyd Fabrication. That's
all you got, buddy?
That's all I got. I don't know, dude.
Quarter fans.
Oh,
All right,
Multi-Roll,
boy.
that's right. Multi-Roll.
Did you think your kitchen?
Yeah, Tampa Test Kitchen.
Oh, okay, okay.
I talked to him. I think he listens to us.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, LaRoche Record Service.
So, you got anybody?
I still have one of his little mini tape measures that has LaRoche towing on it. It's in my pocket. Patterson. Go get it for him. Got it ever since. I just sit up there in my toolbox.
So, before we close this out, we need to thank a couple sponsors for the show. RCP America, Candace Keeley. We have a lot of freshies for sale. Hit us up. I believe they're $8 a piece. Just to help out with the podcast. We got some flavors. We got some race fuel.
These are not flavors.
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
That's what's wrong. Brandon's been eating them. That's what's wrong.
We got some scents, we got some teak water. We got some race fuel. We got some black
I
ice.
mean, it's kind of like Blue Lambert. I mean, you want to drink that stuff so you smell it.
Yeah, you
anyway,
do.
You know what
Hey,
I'm
hand
saying?
him one of them race fuel ones. He's gonna whip it out.
Yeah.
Oh man, I want to come back. You know who I'm gonna give to?
Here.
I tell you what.
Get you whip it out.
I tell you what right now. If I gave this to Iron Tice, that dude right there would have it in his truck every week.
It's
Woo! That's what I'm talking
So,
about.
we like for all support. Y'all hit her up for the freshies. Awesome. Thank you for coming on, man.
Yeah, no problem.
Glad-
I appreciate you guys having me on, man.
Yeah, man, I'm glad to give our fans some perspective on the go-kart side of what y'all do compared to the go-kart, race cars.
Luckily, I got that side too.
He had a rude awakening, you know.
Yeah, very good.
Well, next time you go, you need a little extra tire help to get a win.
Yeah,
I'll
right.
come help them do you.
All right.
Yeah, you're going to find out a state race, 10 classes, all that bullshit.
he ain't ready for
Like
that.
I said, no, state race 25.
Oh, God.
I think he's talking about driving. As well as Jamie can offer like 22 classes a day or
That's
something.
insane.
Yeah.
But we like to thank you coming on, man. And you have nothing? You never have nothing. You suck.
No sponsors, nothing.
Bush Latte.
Not today. But I like to make Bud Light. So, thank y'all for watching. We'll see you next week.